Here's a live look at that press conference. Let me give you some backstory. It's a story that happened over the weekend. So the man accused of killing a lawmaker and her husband and wounding another lawmaker in Minnesota and his wife, they have been arrested. 57-year-old Vance Boelter has been arrested alive in a field near his home in Sibley County, I think I'm saying that right, where the search concentrated Sunday. Officials said no, quote, use of force was used in this arrest. A local police chief there called it the largest manhunt in state history. Again, this is a story that broke over the weekend as far as those two lawmakers and their spouses being shot, one couple dying in that shooting. We heard from the U.S. Attorney's Office this morning. Here are federal prosecutors here. I'm sorry, is this the U.S. Attorney's, guys? Or is this the FBI?
Yeah, so the news conference is billed as federal officials making a statement, but we can also see in this feed, Nick, local and state officials are joining them.
Okay. And so we had another press conference earlier this morning. Mm-hmm. Here's the one with federal officials. Let's take a listen in. This is our content partner there in Minnesota, Care 11. Let's listen in to what's happening right now.
Out of
planning and surveillance went on.
There were some abortion rights supporters, I believe, on the list, but again, there was dozens and dozens and dozens of names on, hundreds of pages of documents that were recovered with his writings on them.
Did he confess and give more details after he was apprehended last night?
I'm not going to comment on that at this time.
Can you talk about how long this creep planning and surveillance went on? Do you have any idea?
It appears to have gone on for an extensive period of time. I think it's unclear. The writings appear to have been done at various times over the course of at least months, I would say. But beyond that, it's speculative.
Did he give any? Did he have?
There's kind of two questions that go towards the same thing. He appeared to be involved with some kind of a home security or professional security operation. I wonder if you have any details into that. And was he familiar to law enforcement, even though he didn't appear to have any kind of serious criminal record in the state?
I've seen the press reporting on his security company. I don't know anything beyond that or any involvement that would have in this case. And I have no knowledge of his interactions with law enforcement prior to this.
Can you comment at all about, his card, the light pack, the license plate, maybe a bit of a badge sniffer? Was he obsessed with police?
I have no idea. I think I skipped over the slide. The police license plate wasn't an official-looking police license plate, as you can tell. It said, I believe it was like a reflective black things that you would buy to put on like a mailbox, like your address on a mailbox.
Was he a bit obsessed with do we know?
I have no idea.
There have been reports that his wife was, quote, detained at a rest stop in Onamia, and that in her car was found weapons, passports, and a lot of cash. She was also with 3 children. Is that true? And is the wife being investigated?
Go ahead. I'll defer to law enforcement on that one.
Yeah, I can answer the question. So when, the question was detained, obviously when an individual commits these, heinous acts and we knew he was the suspect in this case, we're going to want to talk to the family. At this point in time, this is, under active prosecution, and so we want to be careful about what we say. She was cooperative with us at that time. There were a firearm in the vehicle at the time, had valid reasons for her she was legally in possession, I should say that, at this time, and there were other items that were recovered, but we're going to leave that to some of the prosecution as we work this out. So we're not going to comment on all of it, as this is still continue to be part of the active investigation. We need to figure out exactly what all of this means in relation to this.
To be clear, there's not going to be a first appearance in district court then today, and then where is he being held?
There'll be an initial appearance in federal court over in St. Paul, Minnesota at 1:30 Central Time this afternoon. I do not anticipate there will be an appearance in state court today.
Just one more question on the hit list that
You said 45 names. We've seen more than that. Was there more than 45?
There's lots of, I mean, go.
Yeah, and I think it can help. I mean, there's a lot of names that we're working together right now. So the FBI, there are some, and we've mentioned this, that there are some other names that are from out of state. They have been working through through our Fusion Center network across the United States, and then our partners at the FBI are helping coordinate with that in that process. The question is a good one. Part of what we're looking through, the names, the numbers that you're referencing, was names in multiple notebooks. Some of them are redundant. So I don't have a total total number of people that were in there because some of them are overlapping on multiple lists. And again, I do want to continue to clarify, this is not a list of people that was in a numerical order and some sort of ranking. These are names that are being developed as we are looking at this across multiple writings in terms of that, just to be clear about it.
And was Senator Hoffman's name even
In there, though?
I believe it was.
Okay. Where is he being held?
Right now, I think he's in the custody of the United States Marshal Service over at the St. Paul Federal Courthouse. Beyond that, I'll defer to the marshals on where he'll be held, assuming he is held in custody pending trial.
Can today's court appearance be considered an arraignment? Is there anything you can tell us about what's supposed to happen today?
It'll be an initial appearance because he's only charged by complaint. He has not yet been indicted. So he'll have an initial appearance, as all defendants do, before a federal judge, where he'll be asked to identify himself. The court will appoint a lawyer to represent him, or he can retain one and have a lawyer represent him. And then the court will ask whether or not we will move to seek his detention pending trial, which we obviously will. And then the court could set a detention hearing and a preliminary hearing to assess whether or not there's probable cause to charge him by complaint. How much of that will happen actually today is unclear. We'll see at 1:30.
It's at the Warren E. Burger Federal Building, and that's the only court appearance today.
Correct.
Thank you.
And for Superintendent Evans, yesterday, the way that things played out yesterday, when you came up for the 5:30 or so press conference, did you know that he was close to being caught at that point? Or did it come as a
surprise when you got the trail cam information or from a neighbor who saw him in the field?
So that, we, as noted, we still had belief that he was in Sibley County. When we held that, we did not know the information specifically that he was there. Based on the overall investigative, that was still our belief there, but the specific information that led to his arrest at that time, we were not tracking yet. So, and I assume that's related to the timeline. These teams and the law enforcement teams acted very quickly when they had a specific lead that led us to know he was in that area. And so it was a relatively short period of time where they converged and were able to do that.
What we knew before this news conference was bad enough.
You have told us is even worse. Where does this rank in terms of attacks that you know of across the United States? And what you addressed some of your reaction, but can you all
Give us your reactions.
Look, this was a political assassination, which is not a word we use very often in the United States, let alone here in Minnesota. It's a chilling attack on our democracy, on our way of life. It's only the most recent example of violent political extremism in this country, and that's a trend that's been increasing in recent years, and that's unfortunate. And I hope it's a wake-up call to everyone that people can disagree with you without being evil or needing to be killed or hurt.
You mentioned that multiple different aspects of this investigation were found in multiple different notebooks. How many were discovered, and were they all in his vehicle?
My understanding is some notebooks were recovered from his vehicle and others from his house, although obviously there was law enforcement literally from all around the state. I couldn't begin to identify all of them. Representatives of many of those, or some of those agencies are here, but far more were involved. And so all I can say, there was many notebooks recovered from multiple locations. And part of it's
Makes sense about him going back home. Like, what was he thinking? Did he say he was trying to get back to his house? It's odd, I guess you could say.
I can't speculate as to what was in his mind. He obviously went on a murderous rampage on Friday, so I think I'm not aligned with his thought process.
Mr. Winston, can you talk about, is there any sort of attention being paid to what kind of safety needs to be given
To politicians at this time, or is this a space where people feel like any threat has left with this threat?
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, of course, take these threats as serious as possible and throw all available resources towards these threats. We are in lockstep with the Capitol Police on a regular basis, and we're continuing to have those conversations about threats towards politicians. Thank you for that question.
Maybe one more question here before we wrap up.
Perhaps this is for Chief Broley. Just wanted to wrap it back to hoping you can speak to just how pivotal it is that your officers acted proactively, stopping by the Hortman's house and likely stopping more victims.
Yeah, great question. Just for everybody in the room. Question is, how important was it that the police officer stopped at Representative Hortman's house, which really foiled this entire plan? It's incredibly important. That started with a sergeant who was actually off duty, was walking out of the building and had heard that there was a shooting in another community at Senator Hoffman's house. Being alert, seen two officers in the police department, said, hey, drive by Melissa Hortman's house and just check on the house, would you? And that's essentially what they pulled up and found, that in the drive was the car, and essentially the criminal act was occurring as they pulled up. Had they not foiled the plan, essentially took his vehicle away from him, which involved all his maps, all his names, all his weaponry, I would be very scared what it would look like over the next few hours had we not done that.
And just to clarify, did your sergeant know about the New Hope and Maple Grove incidents, or just the one in Champlin?
He only knew about the one that occurred in Champlin.
So the other officer that came upon him at the second house and saw him sitting in a vehicle, did she realize, like, did she report that and did they try to chase him? Did she realize that was suspect, or?
I don't think she did. She knew something was awry, and then he left and proceeded to Brooklyn Park and carried out the next shooting. So got lost in the chaos of the event, not lost in the chaos of the events, but there was a new shooting shortly thereafter. It really is remarkable, to the question earlier, how he went to 4 houses that night, and in 3 of them, or 2 of them, he encountered law enforcement at the 3rd and 4th one, and the 2nd one, no one was home at all. It's remarkable how diligent law enforcement was at 2:30, 3 o'clock, and 3:30 in the morning on a Friday night, that they were responding to just to do wellness checks on our politicians. It's a testament. The last 48 hours have been an incredible testament to the professionalism and dedication and commitment of our federal, state, and local law enforcement. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, I'm going to be back in about 3 minutes with some materials, but I need 3 minutes.
Thank you so much.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. That was a press conference regarding federal charges against, I had his name right there, Vance Boelter. That's the man accused of killing a Minnesota lawmaker and wounding another, and went to their homes of 2 other lawmakers to carry out more carnage on the night of the shooting. That's according to federal prosecutors, and I'm reading this from AP News. We did learn that Boelter, who is 57 years old, is charged with federal murder, stalking offenses. He already faces state charges, including murder and attempted murder. We've been getting updates on this pretty frequently as far as this case. Again, a big story from over the weekend. So as soon as we get more information, and I'm sure there will be more updates and additional updates, we will be sure to pass that along to you. So yeah, that, again, a big story there out of Minnesota.